is why black athletes marry outside their race and date outside their race. We want to get to the bottom of it and get you guys' opinions on why this is so. So the first thing I'm going to do is...
Put that on Facebook. Let them know that we're talking.
That's what I'm about to do.
I'm going to throw... I mean, there's so many. There's so many, but I'm going to throw a couple names out there to get it started.
Jimmy, real quick
sir.
before you throw a couple names out, let me tell the audience this, too. I want to tell them the kind of the angle that we're coming from because, people talk to us about this subject. And, though the title of the show today was Why Black Athletes Marry Outside of Their Race, this conversation, as you all probably could guess by now, the topic is more about the relationship between black men and black women. So it's really like why they're not dating black women. But Jimmy's going to start off a list right now of Cat's prominent professional athletes that didn't marry or date black.
Yo, here's the thing, it's so many that I'm just gonna throw a couple out there because, I got a list of thousands. I'm gonna throw a couple. Scottie Pippen, the Chicago Bull fame is one. Doc Rivers, Doc Rivers, the coach of the Boston Celtics. We got Kobe Bryant, Bean Bryant.
Scotty's wife, you know where she's from?
Where is she from?
I'm asking.
I know she's from the Real Housewives of Miami. I know.
Yeah, I think she's Spanish descent.
Some
Spanish country. She looks like it. I don't know for sure, but the eyeball test tells me Spanish.
She and her sister.
Doc Rivers' wife.
Kobe's wife is like Filipino, right?
Yeah, Doc Rivers' wife is Becky. She's a Becky. Michael Jordan. He's been linked to several.
Hey, I've been told by the producer that she's not Spanish. She's Lebanese.
Oh, she's Lebanese.
Okay.
Yeah, Scotty's wife is Lebanese. She's from Lebanon.
Okay. Shout out to the Lebanese out there. Michael Jordan's another one who dates outside his race. We got Baron Davis. But here's one that shocked me because he's like is Lovie Smith because Lovie Smith looks like James off Good Times, but he got him a pure Becky.
Yo, can I just say something? Real quick, Jim, pertaining to your list? Listen to these, just to add to your list, these coaches in the NFL, like you just mentioned, Lovey, Herman Edwards, Mike Singletary, and Dennis Green, all have white wives. So it's funny that there's so many that the black coaches in the NFL have white wives.
Yeah.
I don't know if that came along with the job or what.
Maybe that's why that's how they got that job. Maybe that's how they got that job when they went to interview.
Exactly.
There's a lot of brothers who can't get a head coaching job. Maybe that's part of it.
So, Jimmy, you're saying that was a part of the qualifications?
Yeah, I mean,
That's what it's saying. I'm like, damn, that's such a coincidence that it's not that many black coaches as it is, or at least it wasn't. Now more coming in. But it used to be, and these guys from back in the day, they all got white wives. Interesting.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yo, I mean, I could stick to the athletes and give you thousands. There's athletes, entertainers, politicians. We're going to stick to all the athletes, though, because there's so many of them that we can name. Tiger Woods. Shout out to Tiger Woods.
Oh, he had that.
Tiger Woods, Randy Moss.
Another one that shocked me. I was just getting ready to say that. Randy Moss.
Randy Moss
got a straight Becky.
He comes from West
Virginia. So, yeah, I'm not.
He comes from West Virginia? So that might be his cousin.
He's not dating his. We should be lucky he's not dating his cousin.
How about that? That might be his cousin. That's what. Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I was about to say Tim Duncan.
Yo, his wife is white. His wife.
Listen to this. Listen to this, fellas. The social phenomena of black athletes and white women became such a hot topic during the O.J. Simpson murder trial that Dr. Michael Eric Dyson labeled it the black man's kryptonite. And in order to combat the trend, wrote a book entitled Why I Love Black Women, which he said was his small but heartfelt testimony to how black women shaped his life. So, hence our question, why do black athletes date white girls? Is it mental health issues? Is it a sickness? Is it a form of self-hatred? Is it a case of white supremacy and black inferiority? Or is the simple answer television programming, and maybe they love them?
Yo, I think there's so many reasons.
Austin.
Yeah, there's more than one reason, for this phenomenon. I mean, it's so many that some of these athletes feel like they made it once they. It's like one of the brothers from Imaginary Players that sent me a tweet the other day. It says athletes feel like they made it once they get a Bentley and a Becky. So for some of them, they feel like they made it. You know, and some of them do it as a slap back in the face.
So then the question becomes, what makes you feel as though you made it to have a white woman on your arm versus having a black woman?
Totally agree with that. Yeah, that's a great.
Where's the premium in value? Because I have some very deep-rooted feelings on this topic, which we'll get into a little bit later in the topic. But we just want to throw everything out there. What is that about? What is it about, Brother Jimmy? What is it about?
That's a good question, and I wish I had the answer to it. But it's like, I think it goes back. I'm not going to try to get too deep on y'all, but this is like a social issue that goes back, hundreds and hundreds of years.
Slavery.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it goes back that far if you want to get into it. But there's a number of reasons why. Some of it's that, and some of it's just that, sometimes you just have a preference. I really believe that. I don't. Because I'm not going to say that I have anything against dating outside your race, so to speak, but at the levels we're talking, it's like, sheesh.
Like Jimmy said, I want to throw that disclaimer out. Like, I don't have a problem. I don't think anybody else in the war room has a problem with that. We want to bring up this topic because a lot of women, have brought this up.
A lot of our female audience, a lot of our female audiences have requested the topic.
So we want you guys to call in and let us know how you feel about the topic and why you feel that way about the topic. That number is 323-410-0012. Let me read something to you guys.
Dev, I know what you're about to do. Before you go into that, because that's going to start a firestorm, I just want you to know that Miss Wright made a comment, and just to throw this in there before you get to what you want to say. She says that it's something to do with where the guys go to school as well. Think about where they go to school: Iowa, Utah, Nebraska. So when in Rome, And also, Naran made a comment that he's quoting Brian Westbrook. He said he dated black women at Nova, but when they found out he was going pro, all they would talk about is getting material stuff, while the white women would talk about investing. So it kind of turned him off. So
that's
those
what
are a couple
of comments.
Yeah.
You talking about B West from the B West?
Yeah.
Like, my homie.
PJ better get mad. That's PJ homie. PJ get mad. That's his homie.
No, that's my. Honestly, that caught me off guard. That's interesting that he would say something like that. I mean,
So now Dev is about to speak something that
I got.
That's why I'm going to say that first.
I was actually talking to somebody that we know recently. He can't call in tonight. It's not like he's afraid, but I promised that I would keep his name anonymous. So, Austin, if you know who this is, please don't shout his name out.
He ain't trying to get nobody mad at him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep it anonymous, but I'm gonna let people know. I just want to let ladies know how certain brothers feel about the topic. So we talked to this guy about this. So he gave me 4 reasons, and he said he could have gone on and on, but he gave me 4 reasons why black athletes and black men in general date outside their race. He said, and I'm going to read it almost verbatim, so excuse my language. He said, 1, it's a bunch of ghetto-ass black women out there. 2, he said these athletes don't want a ready-made family. He said most black women already have kids by 1 or more brothers, and they've never been married. 3, black women have the jump-off mentality instead of wifey mentality, which may have been like speaking to kind of what Brian Westbrook just said. What Naran said, Westbrook said. 4, he said no brother wants a hoe. He wants a wife that he can make into his hoe, when he wants. But he just doesn't want a hoe straight up off the street. Please, ladies, please call in.
Wait a minute.
Please, I definitely want to hear the female perspective, and let me just respond to this, because I definitely know this brother. I know the person that you're speaking of, and we'll let him comment in. We'll let him remain anonymous. That's how some people feel more comfortable taking shots is in anonymous. They don't want to be seen as taking those shots, but. And I hope you're listening. I really feel like you have to ask yourself, a question or a statement tells a lot about the person and their feelings. So really, when this brother makes these statements, I have to ask myself, well, how do you feel about your own mother, provided that she's black? And how do you feel about your sisters because they're black? And how do you feel about your siblings' wives who actually are also black, since I know the person that you – so if this is your general opinion about black women, that's fine, but that would incorporate and include your own family members. So now it really becomes what's wrong with you if that's your perspective of the general female black female population. What's wrong? I have to ask what's wrong with you.
My question would be to this guy is, first of all, I can't believe that somebody would say that, but I definitely know who y'all talking about, and he must have said it. But, I especially can't believe a black person would say that. Just like you said, to me, it sounds like dude has been hurt maybe by a black woman, and it may have gone – no, but you know what's funny? It may have been even in his family structure. Because, like, what he sounds like he has is just hatred toward black women. And then outside of, like, the family structure, he may have been hurt in a relationship really bad by a black girl that he liked, and he got hurt. But my thing is, what type of black women are you associating yourself with? If I want to find a hoe, I can find a hoe in any race. If I want to find a ghetto chick, I can find more. Well, I'm not going to say that, but I can find a bunch of ghetto chicks that aren't black. That aren't that aren't black. Where are you putting yourself in? Who do you associate yourself with to be in a situation where these are the only type of black women that you coming around?
I have a question for you guys.
According to him, Jimmy, he doesn't associate himself with these kind of people.
I got a question.
So how would he even know that that's the case? Like, where's he getting that perception from?
My thing is
I'm just wondering, like, what dude is thinking.
My thing is this though. We know that he's not the only one that thinks like that. Do you think a lot of athletes think the same way he does?
He's not.
Let me read a Facebook. Let me read a Facebook post.
Dr. Dayon.
Yeah, from a fan of the War Room, Bruce. He says usually most frustration towards this issue is from African American women who may feel that they are stepped over by African American men. Some African-American females have argued that the black man has abandoned his roots for marrying outside of his race once he becomes financially successful, and that a white woman authenticates his success and accomplishments in life. I've heard this argument from African-American females who argue that if a brother makes it to the top, then he should take a sister girl with him. This, in their eyes, gives them the feeling that a brother is more authentic and genuine. I hear sisters saying it all the time. When they see a prominent or successful brother, they immediately look to see who he has standing by his side. Attitude is determined by the race of the woman that is by his side. At least he married a black woman versus he has to go get himself a white girl to make himself feel like he's somebody. Most of the hate I hear comes from frustrated black women who feel rejected as a result of this trend.
And we have another post on Facebook from Sharonda Harris. She says, back in the day, we would say it's a slave mentality when black women or men thought that when they have achieved high in life, they go for a white or very light-skinned. Light-skinned African-Americans was given a higher status on the plantation. For real, all of them were drowning in the same boat. Today we have high light-skinned African-Americans who still pass for white. And she just ended it by saying, today people should marry or date whom they love.
Good point.
Yeah,
that's
point.
true. It's funny.
One
time I was watching.
Shout out to Sharonda.
Real quick, y'all. One time I was watching just this perspective, me and my baby Ebony, who I want to thank for like introducing this topic to, or like presenting this topic to her. One day we was watching Millionaire Matchmaker, I believe, because she loves all the like reality shows, and Freddie Mitchell was on there. Freddie Mitchell was supposed to be one of the millionaires. So what happens is they just basically scout these like people that want to date millionaires, bring in the millionaires, have this like mixer, and then the millionaire picks who he wants to be. But when they did Freddie Mitchell, I don't even know how he's I told her.
That was my first question. Freddie Mitchell got $1 million?
That's what I don't even know where he got that from. But when they interviewed him and he asked what he was looking for, he said it explicitly. He was like, I don't date black women. I don't want a black woman. So when he was telling the lady who's going to do the scouting, he made it clear to her that he wanted every race but a black woman to date. So, and my question would be, too, when you come to that point where you're like, I don't even want to date a black woman, like that's from a black man who obviously is assuming that he has two black parents so that he has other black women and black family members, what would make him say that to be so explicit and like just be sure and say, yo, I don't want to date any black women at all?
He must have got hurt. He must have got hurt something awful.
Yeah.
He got hurt. He got hurt something awful.
What? Yeah,
did you see Chad Ochocinco Johnson's reality show and all the chicks he had on there?
Yeah, he had like one black chick and like 30 others.
35 others.
35 others.
No, it's definitely it's a humorous topic. You know, on the surface, we laugh because I definitely laugh at Chad Ochocinco. I think he's hilarious, but I think it does go deeper to some of the things that Jimmy, you touched on, some of the things that some of the things that PJ, you've touched on, where, we look at society and look at culture a lot of times, and this is just one contributing factor. As Jimmy, you said, there's many. A lot of times when you grow up in a predominantly single-parent household, your opinion of the world is skewed by just having one parental influence or one main parental influence. And a lot of these men, these black athletes, when they grow up, they resent some of the things that their mothers represent. Even though they love their mothers, psychologically and also, deep inside, there's a resentment of that black woman, and it comes out in, what they want to date. Then you have the media input. Then you have the media input combined with that. So now we have a resentment towards black femininity, and then you have the media telling you that, everything that's white is right, and when you make it, you got to have that white girl. And then thirdly, and this is the last point because I got a ton of them. The last thing that I think ends up happening is when you look around you and you have these other males in your peer group that have gone through similar experiences, but they're telling you things as if they're an authority. So now you've got those three things combined. You don't want to deal with a black woman who also has her own trauma because they go through it as well, but they're in it with you, and they remind you of that trauma. They remind you of that place that you've been that you don't want to be. They remind you of your mother. So it's like, that's why I think the self-hate comes into play in a lot of cases, not all cases, because some of these men we talking about have come from two-parent homes.
Hey, Brother Mapa.
Speaking of that
I know, man. Give it up to
joint, when y'all talking about the black girl who was on the Ochocinco show, but did you kind of peep what kind of black girl they had on there, though? It seems like whoever was producing that show wanted to portray black women in a certain way. So she was like a young Tasha Mack. Yeah, she was a little she was a little ghetto, as they say.
Yeah.
We got to call her.
You know what, Dad? That's a great point too, Dad, because if you look at the other reality show, which is the T.O. show, when they brought the black girl on for him, she was beautiful, but she was a hood bunny.
Mm-hmm.
She was so it's like these producers, they understand what's up, and they perpetuate the rift that's there already.
Jeff, we got a call on the line. You want to take that?
Okay. Yeah, we're going to take 1 second. But listen, though, thinking back to what Naran said, Brian Westbrook said, though, could that be a product of the black women themselves, or do you think the producers set it up that way? Maybe the black women who don't follow that stereotype, maybe they weren't interested in doing shows like that.
They got white men.
True.
Yeah, maybe these women were the ones who Brian Westbrook said seemed to be material as soon as, they heard that he may be going to the league, and they start talking material stuff. You want me to take that?
Yeah, take